Biden is just the gift that keeps on giving. Even though he's no longer the candidate, no longer the nominee, he is still just making things really tough for the Democrats. That whole comment that he made calling Trump supporters garbage, which was, a whole response to the whole Puerto Rico thing, which is a nothing burger, by the way. People saying this is the thing that's going to end the Trump campaign. Said this in my last video, but if everything that Trump has actually said over the past decade didn't do him in, something that he didn't even say himself, and just some jerk off comedian said, it was an off color joke. That's the whole, that's what comedians do. Oh, it's over for Trump. I doubt it's definitely not going to happen. But if there was any positive momentum gained from that whole Madison Square Garden thing, it is definitely now tarnished because what Joe Biden did is much worse than the whole basket of deplorables thing that Hillary Clinton, what she said during the 2016 campaign, which is something that's commonly attributed to why she lost, and her ultimate downfall was that comment with the basket of deplorables. But at least she said it was only half of Trump supporters that were deplorable. Biden pretty much just said all of Trump supporters are quote garbage. So that's going to definitely motivate a lot more voters to say fuck this, we're coming out and we're going to vote, just in case there were people that weren't. But yeah, this pretty much just negates anything. If there was any positive momentum whatsoever, uh it's just the joke just writes itself at this point. And I love CNN and all these mainstream outlets defending Biden, saying, oh, it was taken out of context and this and that. But of course, the same benefit of the doubt was not given to Trump, who, again, didn't even say that thing, but they're putting it on him, saying, well, it was his event, so he's responsible for all of that. So that's a lot more of a stretch than Biden. Words actually coming out of his mouth. Oh, but he didn't mean that. Oh. Yeah. If you if you didn't know already, after them trying to defend Biden and have a whole spin on this, despite you've heard what he said, right? But yeah, if that's enough proof that you need just from this alone, that CNN, CBS, NBC is just an extension of the Democratic Party. They have no actual journalistic integrity. Not that Fox News does, by the way. They're just, oh, we see that every other fucking outlet has a bias towards the Democrats, so we're gonna do the opposite for the Republicans. That's Fox News. So I'm not even trying to say Fox News is so fucking great because they're the only ones that are pro right wing, because they're just a fucking different sides of the same coin, really, if we're going to be honest about that. But holy fucking shit, I'm just so fucking sick of the media coverage, right? This is a race that is neck and neck, a very close race in terms of the polls, in terms of everything else. But if you actually look at the media coverage, I saw something yesterday that said that the coverage for Harris has been 78% positive, which is surprising. It's not 95, but 78% positive. But coverage towards Trump and his campaign has been 85% negative. So the fact that let's not pretend that there's no bias going on here and that they're not pretty much just working for the Democratic Party. Anyway, though, it's just yeah, it's one of those things when you look back, be like, oh my god, they really really fucked this up. Especially if it comes down to really close margins in this race, Biden may have just sealed Harris's fate right now. I mean, I think that Trump was going to win regardless, but now it's there's no way that Trump doesn't win. He is going to win this election. He's going to become the 47th president of the United States. The fact that the early voting is looking really, really, really solid for the GOP, it says a lot of really good things. We have the data and we have the polls and we have everything that's oh shit, Trump is going to fucking do this. He's going to pull this off. And fuck all the people who have been trying to take him down for all this time. They thought he was out in 2020 and that he was gone forever and all this shit, and he wasn't going to win the primary because he was tainted after January 6th. He was this, he was that. One lesson that you guys have not learned is never count Trump out. You've been doing it since 2015 when he first walked down the escalator and gave his speech announcing his candidacy, he was nothing but a laughingstock. And then in 2016, there's no way he can beat Hillary in the general election, and he did it. Like, oh, well, but there's no way that he can actually get another term, and he didn't in 2020, but it was like really, really, really close. And the average of the national polls, by the way, was plus Biden plus 7.5. That was the average of the polls right before the election. At this point of the race, 4 years later, right now, Harris is only up 1.4%, something like that. So, I mean, you could say that, well, they've corrected. They've made a 7-point correction here. I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I think that the polls are going to. They don't even need to underestimate him, because there are states that have Trump. There are polls, like the average of the polls is like pretty much a statistical tie. So the polls can actually be 100% correct. It's not that much of a leap for Trump to get this election and for him to win. He's going to. Absolutely. That there's just more going in his favor this time around than 4 years ago. The direct, like, ongoing COVID, all that stuff happening was really like the thing that got him. But people can't think of a single moment in time where the incumbent party and the incumbent administration was unpopular, yet they were able to secure another term. Never in history has that happened, and is not going to happen in this election. So, but yeah, it's great seeing Biden. There's a lot of like people going out there and saying that Biden is like trying to deliberately sabotage the Harris campaign because he's angry about being forced out. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just his mind is just whatever, and he's just gonna say stuff, and it's gonna a lot of times gonna bite them in the ass. So thank you, Biden. If you're able to fucking to get Trump elected, I'm gonna, like, every negative thing I said about you, I'm gonna be like, at the end of the day, you turned out all right, Biden. I got no problem with you. Thank you. Keep talking, by the way. Keep saying fucking shit, because you're doing great. Like I said, you really are. Wow. I'm just like amazed at this whole thing. And looking at Reddit, people are like, oh, the Trump campaign's over. He's cooked. He's cooked. Okay, we'll see in just a matter of days now. But there's no way he's not going to win.